Welcome to Module 4, Peasant Futurisms. I'm so excited for this module. Let's get right into it with 4.1, Narratives of Abundance, Edible Eco-Cities. According to the United Nations, over 70% of the world will live in urban areas by 2050, with a projected global population of just under 10 billion people. Feeding these future city dwellers is an opportunity to reverse our dependence on global industrial agricultural infrastructures that are causing a great deal of social and ecological violence. The COVID-19 pandemic and war in Ukraine have exposed vulnerabilities in the global food system, a system not only partly responsible for the climate crisis, but also threatened by it. 60% of the production of key food grains, including rice, wheat, corn, and soy, is concentrated in a few breadbasket countries like China, the United States, India, Brazil, and Argentina. The climate emergency risks creating multiple global breadbasket failures due to rising temperatures, unexpected changes in patterns of precipitation, and episodes of unprecedented climate-related stress. Relying on global industrial agriculture to meet our basic needs for food is not only an unhealthy choice for our bodies, our various ecological milieus, and the planet, it is also gambling our ability to feed ourselves and our children now and in the future. We have an opportunity to tackle the eco-social crisis that plagues our modern era right where we live, by transitioning away from capitalist cities towards wilder and edible eco-cities. Unlike small organic farmers who grow food with the intention of creating a surplus for sale, peasants tend to grow what they need, when they need it, gifting, trading, and selling unplanned surplus. The distinction between rural farmers and peasants can be reductionist, and in practice, the lines between the two are actually quite blurred. La Via Campesina, an organization that represents peasants worldwide, defines peasant in very inclusive and generous ways, always in opposition to industrial agriculture. For La Via Campesina, a peasant is any person who engages or who seeks to engage alone or in association with others or as a community in small-scale agricultural production for subsistence and or for the market, and who relies significantly, although not exclusively, on family and household labor and other non-monetized ways of organizing labor, and who has a special dependency and affection for land. 2, any person who engages in artisanal or small-scale agriculture, crop planting, livestock planning and raising, pastoralism, fishing, forestry, hunting and gathering, and handicrafts related to agriculture or a related occupation in a rural area, and this also applies to the dependents of these peasants. 3, indigenous peoples and local communities working on the land, transhuman, nomadic, and semi-nomadic communities, and the landless engaged in the above-mentioned activities. And finally, hired workers, including all migrant workers irrelevant of their migration status, and seasonal workers on plantations, agricultural farms, forests, and farms and aquaculture, and in agro-industrial enterprises. Just to be clear, that fourth definition really is specific to the hired workers, not the owners of these plantations and monoculture farms. Peasant futurisms is a call for a fifth definition of peasantry, making space for those of us who, as the urban children and grandchildren of rural peasants, deliberately attempt to resist industrial modernity, its plantations and monocultures by reclaiming our peasant practices and knowledges each time we choose to cultivate permaculture gardens in our backyards, plant medicinal and herb gardens on building rooftops, convert deserted parking lots into edible tiny forests, push city delegates to plant the roots of public orchard parks, forage within and beyond city borders, guerrilla garden, and blast seed bombs in otherwise neatly manicured residential neighborhoods, always preferring and prioritizing local organic markets to chain stores. We break the urban and rural divide and demand access to healthy and nutritious food through practices of regenerative organic agriculture within local ecoregions. We reclaim mutual aid and collaboration as our way of life, refusing the worker-consumer matrix we were born into but never felt good embodying. Being an urban peasant is a deliberate choice to grow a permaculture garden in your backyard. It means building rooftops, railway tracks, and underused parking lots. It means converting, pardon me, rooftops, railway tracks, and underused parking lots into lush gardens. The organization Peace and Love is already planting the seed of this future across several cities in France and Belgium. Imagine eating healthy and nutritious food grown without any trace or very little trace of residual toxins, with zero or little money exchange. In Seattle, 1.5 hectares have been allocated to growing a wild edible forest. The perennial permaculture forest gives people and other creatures access to apple, pear, parmesan, chestnut, and walnut trees, as well as edible berries, including lingonberry, raspberry, and blueberry. Peasant Futurism is a delicious future already here in patches of paradise, calling for pollinators like you and me to spread these ideas here and there, everywhere, on our beautiful and irreplaceable planet Earth. Imagine learning the basics of permaculture gardening in school, just as we learned the foundations of mathematics and grammar. Imagine that every child is taught how permaculture garden design mimics nature, so they know how to grow food organically, enhance biodiversity, and care for a low-maintenance yard, while providing their families and neighbors with an abundance of vegetables and fruits. We could shift from a culture of consumption to a culture of local production and become masters of composting, recycling, reusing, and regenerating, and cultivate the arts of observing and listening. Although Peasant Futurism advocates for organic regenerative gardening and farming, not everyone wants to grow a permaculture garden or start, a mushroom micro farm in their neighborhood. To live well, we need people of diverse skills and capacities. We will always need doctors and dentists, teachers and scientists, storytellers and musicians. We don't all have to plant crops and gardens, but we should all be given the choice to access organic food at the local farmers market. Hence the importance of peasants and farmers who grow life-giving organic food in a productive food belt around the eco-city. And more on that in Module 4.3. Imagine that we go to the farmer's market every Saturday like we used to rush to the cinema or the mall. Imagine food vouchers for those who need them so that everyone has access to life-giving, nutritious food. Is this not a delicious future you want to bite into?